Welcome to a sparkling new podcast from Mike Parry and Mike Graham. We're the two Mikes.
Actually, it sounds even better when you do it Dullsville, because when you try to be happy and excited and energetic, you sound pathetic.
Thanks.
I love the trees, particularly in the autumn when they're shredding leaves, particularly in the spring when the wind picks them up and they're waving at you. You stand on your balcony there and the trees are literally waving at me. They're swaying in the wind. I wave back at them.
Sports Extra Time. We are the two Mikes. It's that time of the morning to say a very good morning to Mr. Mike Porky Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
Yes, a very good morning to you, Mike, as well. First off, I'm going to give you a compliment, OK?
Are you?
Do you like this?
I do. It's very unusual.
It's very unusual, way to open the show. I'm going to...
You're not up to something, are you?
No, not up to anything at all, although I will be asking you about your medical condition in a few minutes' time.
Good luck.
After discovering, not from yourself, that you downed the best part of a bottle of whiskey on Sunday, I feel it's necessary to ask a few vital questions.
I'm feeling much better today,
and I've been talking to a medical expert about some new ways of detecting the way the body is reacting to the lifestyle, OK?
Right, OK.
But that's in a minute. What I was going to say to you was, I compliment you on your prediction last night as I left the building that Arsenal would win 2-0 and go very, very close to retrieving the disaster of the first leg, but not quite get there.
Close, but no cigar.
You said that was their standard pattern of play. That's a standard pattern of response to a disaster. In fact, you got it absolutely right. And I have to say, in the last seconds, when was it old Zenner? What's his name? The Arsenal forward who got up and headed it into the goalkeeper's hands, right on the line there.
Oh yeah,
they could have snatched it, couldn't they? In the last seconds.
It was a funny moment, wasn't there? Because as the kind of slow motion detector started to see where the ball had crossed the line, you suddenly thought, well, what about the goal line technology? Well, and they haven't got any, have they?
They haven't got any there either.
And wouldn't that have been a terrible travesty, in fact, if the ball had gone over the line, and because they didn't have the technology, they wouldn't have gone through?
They wouldn't have gone through. It is a terrible thing. But also, Arsene Wenger's a strange man. I quite agree with what you've been saying. I mean, I'm not quite as harsh as you are on him, as Piers Morgan has been in the past. Piers is coming again this week.
He's in on Thursday, I believe,
with Adrian Durham. Yeah, very good. That'll be worth listening to, obviously. But what I was going to say is, he seems to think he's got the get-out-of-jail card sorted out because he was very smug at the end. We nearly got there. We should have had 5 goals in the first half and all that.
Because I genuinely think he knows his position is safe. He knows that the club will continue to be a very successful club. And so actually winning stuff is not as important to him as it might be to others.
Well, he's got more competition in the Premier League now because, of course, the man has arrived. Night and morning, I drink mornings advocaat.
He's here, yes, but I don't think Sunderland will be threatening Arsenal anytime soon.
No, but that's the craziest appointment I've ever heard of in my life.
It's mad, isn't it?
This guy who runs Sunderland, this millionaire American businessman, I've never met a bloke who's had so little feel for the English game. Yeah. Because how many managers
he's had something like 7 managers in 3.5 years.
Something like that. And what I'm saying is, when the guy comes in, it was a bit like the bloke who went to West Brom, Pepe Mel.
Oh, yeah.
He came straight out of overseas, if you see what I mean, straight into the Premier League. Yeah. Didn't even know the names of half of his players, as Dick Advocaat doesn't, because Dick... by the way, what an amazing record that man's got. I think he's been manager of 31 clubs in 34 years or something like that.
Incredible.
So, not clubs. He's managed loads of international sides and that kind of stuff.
Well, his last job was Serbia, wasn't it?
Serbia. And the point I'm making is that he comes in completely out of the cold. What's he going to do? His first initiative, according to what we're going to be reading tomorrow morning, seems to be to get back Johnson, the boy who's currently suspended by the club over allegations of within his private life. Now, I mean, talk about struggling and clutching at straws and all that.
Well, it's going to be a bit of a baptism of fire for him as well, because suddenly he finds that there's all these other clubs around him who are fighting for their lives, and he won't really know what's hit him, I don't think, because the last time he was in this country, i.e. Britain, he was managing Rangers. Rangers were absolutely top of the pile, and they could do whatever they wanted, and they had all the money they wanted to spend. He's not going to find that at Sunderland, is he?
It's going to be it's going to be very, very challenging. Also, the race at the top of the Championship as well. How exciting was that last night?
It's very exciting. It changes every time there's a game now,
changes every time a team wins or draws.
Yeah.
Derby get beaten at home and suddenly bang, they're down. Watford are up to the top. Bournemouth drew, and that gets me a little bit out of jail. They've fallen now down to third.
Yeah, I mean, because you have to say that, with every kind of a step closer to the end of the season that comes, you might want to get that duck suit ordered.
No, not really, because, you see, the point is, if they don't finish in the top 2, it means that they've got to play 2 more games to get promotion.
Right.
So I still have a 1 in 4 chance of avoiding the big leap the leap being off the end of Bournemouth Pier. Yeah, should they get promoted?
Yeah, but if they've got plenty of chances to get promoted, though. They've got the 2 automatic places, and then they've got the playoff places. So, I mean, you know, they've beaten everybody in the league as well. So even if they go into the playoffs, you'd have to think they've got a pretty good chance of getting through.
I hope they do get promoted. I think they've done a valiant job this season. The only comment I made, and it wasn't a malicious comment, was I didn't feel... I mean, what's the capacity of their ground? 10,000? Something like
12 or something.
12, something like that. Yeah. I just didn't feel they had the capacity, facility, the resources to last in the Premier League. And if ever there was a prediction for a yo-yo club, i.e. a club that goes up and comes down the following season, it has to be Bournemouth.
Well, I know what a yo-yo club is. You don't have to explain it.
No, I do explain it to you.
You don't have to explain what yo-yo means.
No, I do.
What else could it mean?
Well, you've got it completely wrong. I'm explaining to you yo-yo in the context of Bournemouth.
Right.
But yo-yo in the context of any other club, like Crystal Palace or West Brom, is up and down continually.
Up and down continually.
But Bournemouth can't be up and down continually because they've never been up yet, have they?
Well, no, they haven't.
So if they haven't been up, they can't yet come down.
But West Brom haven't been down either.
West Brom have been down many times.
Yeah, but they haven't this season.
No, they haven't this season, you fool.
Or
but
last season.
What I'm saying is, over the last 10 or 12 years, they have been a yo-yo club.
I think it could be a yo-yo club over a period of time.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I thought yo-yo meant straight up and straight back down again.
No. A yo-yo keeps going up and down. And so that's the definition of a yo-yo club. They keep going up and down.
Okay.
Have you ever had a yo-yo?
I used to have a yo-yo.
When you were a child?
I'll tell you what was a scandal. I'll tell you about a yo-yo scandal.
Just to explain to our listeners, I'm now waving my hand up and down as I had a yo-yo.
I never really found yo-yos particularly enthralling.
No, I don't know why people got them.
I didn't really see the point. And I'll tell you what was shocking was about 6 months ago in my kids' primary school, they had this person come around who's like this magic yo-yo man, right?
Yeah.
And they performed for them. And then every kid in the school wanted to buy one of his yo-yos because, you know, they're very impressionable.
That's disgraceful. This is a commercial exercise.
I actually said to one of the women in the playground who looked at me rather askance, I said, they might as well bring in some guys selling drugs because, I mean, the kids have got no way of resisting.
Absolutely.
Right? They're 6, 7, 8 years old. So they're all pestering their parents to buy. And guess how much these yo-yos cost? 10 quid.
You're joking.
I'm not joking.
And so as the parents turned up to take their children home, oh, Mummy can have £10 for a yo-yo.
Well, I mean, many of them actually... many of them actually were getting in. You know, were getting the yo-yos because the parents have got no resistance either. One of the parents, however, who's quite a nice woman who I met, she said, "Oh, it's terrible this morning because it turns out her son, who's only 8, had stolen £10 from her bag in order to buy one.
To buy a yo-yo?
Yeah,
that's an absolute disgrace.
That was shocking.
Do you know we had a kid in our school who was a yo-yo expert, and he made the mistake of trying to get funny with me. So he was doing the yo-yo up and down like this, but then he put his hand up to his shoulder, so the yo-yo came out horizontal fashion. Straight into my face.
That's not very nice.
So I punched him because he tried to make a fool of me. You know what I mean? Yeah, I did. I leapt on him. And
it's another one of these stories that ends in violence with you.
Well, no, we know. But I mean, he was trying to make a fool of me. He was. Look at this, Parry. We used to call each other by surnames. It was a direct grammar school.
Yeah, my school was
a public school. Yeah. Yeah, look at this, Parry. You can't do this, can you? And then went bang, smacked me in the face. It was a hell of a shock. I felt like Wayne Rooney on the end of a glove in my own kitchen. Yeah. And I said, that to me, pal. I had to sort of make out that I was, brave.
You were the rougher end of town as well, weren't you?
Well, no. But in front of all my mates, I wasn't putting up for that. So I went for him, got him round the neck and wrestled him to the ground. And he won't do it again.
Did you get detention for that?
No, not really. It was out on the old playing field, so really? Nobody saw it. Yeah. And if he'd have gone and...
grassed you up.
Grassed me up.
He'd have got another kicking.
Yeah, he got duffed in, yeah. That's right, duffed him up, yeah.
Terrible state of affairs. Anyway, we're not just talking about yo-yos, we're going to be talking about lots more.
I want to talk about your medical condition next, because I've got some new medical information here.
Okay, all right. Well, I hope you've got my medical files. I haven't seen them for years.
No.
But look into the light for a moment. Medically related, some of them not.
Yes, indeed.
But you've got to reveal something to me.
Well, I read books all the time. I try to keep up with things. Yes. Only 1/3 of my heart works. For that reason, I try to keep up with medical developments. Now, Mike, I want you to take off your headphones, please.
Do you?
I want you to take them off.
And then I won't be able to hear you properly.
No, it doesn't matter. I want you to turn towards me.
Yeah.
Brush your hair back, please.
What, brush my hair back?
Yeah, it's your earlobes.
What, behind my ear?
Wrinkly earlobes can predict a heart attack. A US study showed a creased earlobe on one side.
Can I put my headphones back on?
It's dangerous. No, because I want to see the other side now, please.
Well, they're not creased by earlobes.
Yeah, they are a bit, honestly. No, they are. Right, creased earlobes indicate a risk of yes, you can. Cardiovascular event, increasing the danger of a heart attack by 1/3. it can rise to 77% increase in the danger of a heart attack if both your earlobes are creased. Right. And yours look creased to me.
No, they don't look creased to me.
They look creased to me, honestly.
Have you looked at your own earlobes? Do you think yours are creased? Are yours creased?
No, mine aren't creased. I was
looking
in the mirror
already knackered.
Yeah, my
so it doesn't really matter, does it?
No, it's already gone. Yeah. Researchers blame a loss of elastic fibres for the increases and hardening of the arteries, OK?
The arteries?
So what I'm saying...
The arteries?
The arteries. What I'm saying is if the arteries are hard and gone, it's reflected in your earlobes.
I see.
Your earlobes look dodgy to me.
They don't look creased at all.
They look dodgy to me.
I'm quite encouraged, actually.
Do you get burning lips?
Pardon?
Burning lip syndrome.
Only if I put Tabasco on them.
Symptoms ranging from a subtle tingle to a full-on burning sensation in your mouth, OK, could indicate that you are
only if I eat very spicy food.
Near the end.
If I eat very spicy food.
Well, that could be the problem. Canadian study of 41 dental patients showed hot lips is a new phenomenon, burning mouth phenomenon.
Hot lips Houlihan, do you remember that?
Hot lips Houlihan, yeah, that's right, yeah. And a burning mouth phenomenon means that you've got real bad problems.
Yeah, no, I never get that.
Now another one.
I'm fine. So
no,
I'm all right.
no.
So far, I'm 0 for 2. That's good.
Now another one which is a little bit more sensitive, particularly in a man of your age.
Oh yeah.
Do you get dandruff?
No.
If you get dandruff, you've got a real problem.
I said no.
Shampoo ads always promising to leave fresh and flake-free hair. What causes dandruff? You see, you've never examined this, have you? What does cause dandruff, right?
Well,
what do you think causes dandruff?
It's a flaky scalp, dry skin.
What it is any time your immune system alters, it can provoke dandruff, and that could be a flare-up on your head. You've got to eat more veg and drink green tea.
I used to get it when I was a teenager, funnily enough. And it was one and only time I got dandruff, and I presumed it was something to do with the hormonal changes.
No, it wasn't. No. The reason there's two reasons for getting dandruff. One is you don't rinse your hair properly when you wash it, and don't get all the soap out.
I don't think it was
because people didn't have showers when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Nobody had a shower.
I grew up quite a bit later than you.
The only shower... No, you didn't. About the same time. The only showers we had in my day were a pair of rubber hoses that you attached to that you attached to the tap.
Yeah.
You attached to the tap.
That's right. I know them.
And in fact, my dad made a homemade one. He was too mean to go out and buy one because they're very expensive in those days. So he just got...
What did he make it out of?
A garden hose, an old knackered old garden hose, and he got two bits of hose. He stuck them on the taps, and then just taped the ends together, so it just poured all over your head.
Right, so it wasn't actually there was no shower head.
There was no shower. Right. No, we couldn't afford a shower.
Well, it wasn't that because I mean, I think it only lasted for about a few months or so.
And the other reason you used to get it as a kid, I was always told, was rain. If rain on your head can lead to dandruff.
Really?
Now there's another.
That's only if it's acid rain, isn't it?
No. Now, two or more issues here. One is small...
Well, that's 0 for 3 for me, so I'm getting good shape. That's 3 things I haven't got.
Another one is small head syndrome.
Small head syndrome?
Yeah, you definitely don't have a small head.
I don't got a small head.
You don't, honestly. In fact, you've got a gross head, to be honest.
No, I mean, I think if you were to compare my head to most people's heads, mine's of average size.
You've got a grossly big head, in my view.
Do you know what size your head is? Do you have a hat size?
Yes.
What hat size are you?
Sort of medium.
Medium?
Yeah, sort of.
Well, isn't it good? Isn't there a number that you should get?
No, there's no numbers in hats these days.
Sure?
It's small, medium, large, extra large, and all that kind of stuff. But most hats fit me. The other one is restless leg syndrome. Do you get trembling knee and leg problems?
No.
I think you do.
No.
I think I've seen that happen.
No.
I think last time we were on a stage, which was in Birmingham, I'm sure I saw your legs shaking, and maybe that was nerves. Maybe it was nerves in front of a big crowd.
It could have been that. They don't shake particularly, involuntarily, if you know what I mean. I mean, I do sometimes fidget.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But that's not the same thing. I think what that's talking about is when your legs move and you don't actually realise they're doing it.
And the last one, and this definitely is you, and I'm not being funny now.
Well, you're hoping you're grasping at straws now. There's 5 things that I don't have.
No, swollen eye syndrome. Swollen eye syndrome. No, it is.
What do you mean swollen eye syndrome?
Puffy lids and puffy bags under your eyes.
Yeah,
it's
that's
called
what
swollen
you've got.
eye.
I'm looking at your eyes now.
Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah.
A Danish study of 13,000 people found that those with cholesterol deposits had a high risk of heart attack or of dying within a decade, and it's all reflected in the eyes. All reflected in the eyes. So I put all that together for you, mate, to give you a medical checkup. I think you failed on 4 of those.
You've completely misread my answers.
No, I haven't.
When I said no to each of the things that you asked me, that means that I don't suffer from any of those things.
Not at all.
There is a strange one, though. They say if you can smell toast, you might be about to have a stroke.
What?
That's one of the things they say. If you can smell toast, it can...
What, burnt toast?
Well, just toast, generally.
Well, I smell toast all the time. I love the smell of toast, don't you?
What do you mean you smell it all the time?
Well, you smell toast. You put toast in the toaster.
Well, when you're making it, obviously you smell it.
I've got a new one, by the way. I told you,
you told me.
toaster.
I'm not talking about when you're not making... I'm talking about when you're not making toast.
Oh, no. Well,
like when you're walking down the street and you smell toast.
Oh, you can't be mad. I thought you meant that you smell toast when you put in your toaster, you fool. What are you laughing at? What do you expect me to think? What do you think?
It's not about smelling toast when you're actually toasting bread.
Well, when else would you smell toast?
Well, that's why you'd be having a stroke, because you'd be walking somewhere where there isn't any toast, and you can smell toast.
What, so you're in a boozer, and you're having a pint of beer, and all that, and all of a sudden, I can smell toast.
And this was my problem. I was walking down the street the other day.
What, you smelled
and
toast?
I could smell toast, and I thought, Christ, maybe I'm about to have a stroke.
You have got a problem.
And then it turned out I was walking past a place where they were making toast.
Oh, well, there you go, you see.
So it was all right.
But you used to work in a bakery, didn't you? So perhaps it was a flashback to the baker's days and all that kind of stuff. Now, talking about medical things, right, you won't believe this, I've also come across... I do my research all the time in medical matters. I
don't know where you find the time, to be honest.
Well, I surf the internet all the time because I'm a sort of bloke who never wants to be left out of a conversation
I can tell.
by not having enough knowledge.
Well,
and I keep up with things.
There's not many conversations that can be had with you, really, because it's a bit one-sided. What about this new heartbeat? There's a new fingerprint.
Yeah.
What is that about?
Well, what it is that they can put a sensor on your heart now, and that heartbeat can be transferred to an app on your mobile phone. Right. Okay.
Have you actually got a heartbeat?
A very, very slight one.
I mean, if I was to take your pulse, for example...
You wouldn't be able to find it.
Is it much slower than the normal pulse?
You wouldn't be able to find it. You wouldn't be able to find it. Have I told you the story about when we went to the World Cup in wherever it was, South Africa or Germany or something?
I don't know.
And we only got the... it must have been South Africa, because we had to get inoculations for certain things.
Not like cholera.
Yeah, only if we'd have gone to certain parts of South Africa.
Yellow fever.
It depended on where England were going to qualify and go next. In fact, it didn't go anywhere. But
that's always a good thing. You don't have to worry about getting inoculated, because they're always getting kicked out of it.
Well, that's a bit cruel, and I won't go into that. But anyway, point of the story is, so we go to the medical centre at Waterloo Station in London.
Oh, I know the one, the private one.
Yeah. And
it's on that little bridge, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, And I went with young Denny.
Yes.
Who, incidentally, is...
he's on the mend, I hear.
Hopefully returned to work this week, just to keep our listeners informed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's one of our outstanding young producers. He's had a bit of a setback, and he's coming back, so that's great.
Good.
Now, what I was going to say was, we went down there, and we both had to have inoculations, and the nurse jabbed us with a needle, and then hovered with a piece of cotton wool, and as she did Denny's, then the blood sort of trickled out, and she dabbed it and then put it on, and then put a plaster over it and said, take that off in an hour.
Right.
So she did it to my arm, hovered with a piece of cotton wool.
Right, and it came shooting out.
No, there was no blood.
No blood?
No blood.
What, you haven't got any blood?
Well, this is the point of the story. So,
is this because you're low blood pressure?
Yes, because my blood pressure is so low, it didn't emit any blood from my body.
So if you were to utter the words, "When you cut me, do I not bleed?"
Yes,
actually, that would be correct.
It's true. It's true. I mean, it's almost as good as Al's quote once, wasn't it? When he was talking about people who played for Manchester United. If you cut them, they bleed red. It's just a very observation from our colleague.
So what? No blood came out at all.
No blood came out.
She must have been horrified.
So she
thought you were a zombie.
So she sort of waited there, and she said, "Are you?" I said, "No." I explained that I had this congenital heart condition.
Did you tell her that only a third of your heart worked?
I told her only a third of my heart worked.
Did you ask her out for lunch?
No, I didn't actually. No. So she said, it's most unusual. I think you should get yourself checked out. I said, I get checked out on a regular basis. Don't worry. I said, some of the world's top thoracic consultants are on my case.
Yeah, right.
What are you laughing at?
Because I always think of Thoracic Park whenever you say that.
No, that's Jurassic.
Yeah, I know.
Not thoracic.
I know.
At leading hospitals in this country, I'm a bit of a
When was the last time you were checked out, by the way?
November.
Don't you mean checked up on? As opposed to
checked up. Yeah, checked up.
Checked out somebody else.
And anyway, I said, well, look, it doesn't mean, does it, that the inoculation won't work? She said, well, providing it's gone into your bloodstream and your blood's carrying it around your body, it will work. She said, but I've never seen anything like it before. So it just proves, Mike, I'm 1 in a million.
Yeah, well, you are 1 in a million, or 1 in several million.
Yeah, 1 in several million, yeah.
So I mean,
pretty unique.
Because some people who have, because you presumably your blood has to be quite thin, doesn't it, in order to make it work properly around your various arteries and hearts and things. Some people with thin blood, when you cut them, they actually bleed a lot. don't they?
Well, George Best couldn't stop bleeding. His liver was so knackered towards the end, because we've been reading a lot about George Best, the circulation of that book this week, so he's very prominent in my mind.
Yeah.
I remember that towards the end, well, actually, the reason George Best died in the end was that they tried to correct his malfunctioning liver.
Well, they gave him a new liver, didn't they?
They gave him a new liver, but then he went on the drink again, and so that started rejecting...
And it rejected him,
It started... the anti-rejection tablets stopped working, so his liver packed up.
Right.
But they tried to correct it several times with surgery, and they couldn't stop him bleeding because it had gone altogether. You do take a thing called warfarin if your blood's thickening up, because that's for people... But
I know people who've had heart attacks that take that.
Yeah, they have to, because what happens is that if the heart's not strong enough to pump the blood around the body, it can literally settle somewhere.
But you don't take that?
No, I don't take it, no.
See, this is more evidence to me that there's nothing wrong with you.
No, I don't take it.
I don't think there's anything wrong with you
if you take warfarin, you literally can cut yourself and bleed to death.
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
a haemophiliac.
A bit like that, but I mean, I mustn't, put medical scares on people who take warfarin. What I'm saying is
You've just told everyone that if you've got dandruff or your earlobe's a bit wrinkly, you're going to die.
No, I didn't say that.
You did.
I didn't say that. I said new medical evidence gives those as indicators.
All right, OK. Well, anyway, look at the time.
I've been looking at the light, haven't I?
Yeah, no, you haven't.
Look at the light.
Look into the light.
Which light?
Look at any light you like. This is the two mics. We are on TalkSport, and Porky, Ask Porky, actually, I should say, is coming up very shortly.
Thank you. Can't wait to get in that quiz.
On DAB, digital radio, and 1089 and 1053 AM.
The pressure's on now.
Relieve the itch. TalkSport.
This is TalkSport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry, and of course we are the two mics. There will be a podcast coming out about, 7 hours from now or so?
Yeah.
Bit of The Cure there. You remember them, don't you?
Yeah, I would have thought that a great song to introduce a story about cats would be, Midnight.
Well, you would think that,
empty, which comes from Cats.
Yeah, but that's because your musical taste is appalling.
No, it's not. That's Andrew Lloyd Webber, Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber, one of the greatest composers and songwriters of the second half of the 20th century and the first half of the 21st.
You see his ex-wife's going up into space with the Russians.
£34 million she's allegedly paying for it.
Yeah. I think that's a sign that she's got too much money, isn't it?
Well, she's been on the case for years, apparently, and she's been training in America and Russia and all this, and China and all this kind of stuff. And
she's going to sing in space.
Well,
or something,
this is a point I was going to say. Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber, who, by the way, I frequent with occasionally.
When was the last time you saw Andy?
It was at a party to celebrate the birthday of a very eminent man in the world of football.
Was it?
Yes.
Whose birthday?
The chairman of Everton, actually, because of course they're in the they're in the thespian world, yes, and all that kind of stuff.
Very nice.
In fact, when I saw Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber on
he's
that
very short,
occasion,
isn't he?
No, not particularly.
Well, not compared to you, I suppose. But I mean, when I see him, I always think he's very short.
No, not particularly. But he did tell me that the West End Theatre was having a hard time. This is about 2 years ago. But apparently that's all changed now. It's having a great time.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
she's not married to him anymore, though, is she?
Oh, no, she hasn't been married to him for years. He's had at least one wife since then, hasn't he?
I think so.
And maybe more, I don't know.
Yeah, I just thought it was very odd when I saw her in Russia. Anyway, I've just got a quick apology to make.
She was in the song, I lost my heart to a Starship Trooper. I lost my heart to a Starship Trooper. She was part of the chorus line.
Okay, Buggles or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's where she came from. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, remember yesterday when I said when we read from a paragraph of one of Mr. Brazil's books.
Yes.
About you and the £700 cheque for the new liver.
Yes.
I erroneously credited that tweet to somebody called Glenn.
Right.
In fact, it was somebody called Sam.
Okay.
And he sent me a tweet earlier on today saying that I'd wrongly done it, and he said he was gutted. So I promised him I would apologise.
Okay, that's very good of you. Well done.
Yeah.
Why do we play the cat thing?
Because we're going to tell me about a cat story tonight.
Oh, I see.
You're being terrorised by a cat, which comes as no surprise to anyone who's been listening to you over the weeks, because you believe cats to be evil.
Well,
so now there's one stalking you.
I do believe that cats...
Yeah, but there's now one stalking you, right?
Well, I think I'm getting quite worried about it. In the Middle Ages, they used to hang women who had cats because they thought they were witches.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. What are you talking about?
It didn't take much, did it?
Well, actually, it didn't hang them.
They hang you because you've got a cat.
No, they usually they burnt them at the stake, which is horrible.
Didn't they do the old ducking stool thing as well?
Ducking stools, burning them at the stake.
If you didn't float, you weren't a witch, but if you did float, you were.
Well, the ducking stool was like a physical thing. They put them in, and then they ducked you up and down in the pond, in the village pond. The other one you're talking about is when they bound your hands and legs behind your back and then chucked you in the pond.
Right.
And if you floated, you were guilty and they burnt you at the stake.
Yeah.
But if you drowned, you were innocent. But unfortunately, you died in the process of proving your innocence.
Did you see sorry to change the subject for a minute, but did you see Fernando Torres giving an interview earlier on, I think it was to Sky, talking about when he played at Chelsea.
Right.
He felt like he was swimming in wet clothes.
Really?
Yeah, that was his excuse for not playing very well. I don't know why that reminded me of it.
Have you ever tried that, by the way?
Well, when I was a kid and we did the swimming examinations, you used to have to wear swimming pyjamas.
Exactly. That's exactly what it reminded me of as well. And I remember all the air filling up in your pyjamas as you jumped into the water, and you felt like Michelin Man.
Yeah.
Which, of course, is something you feel like every day now as an adult.
No, I feel like going to a Michelin star restaurant.
Michelin star restaurant. Now, about the cat, okay, and I know...
So tell us about this cat that's stalking you.
Well... It's a ginger tomcat.
Is it?
And I think they're even more evil than ordinary cats,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something
Why?
about them. I don't know,
They're quite sort of macho, aren't
they? I think they're just, weirdo cats, you know what I mean? And, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And... But when you live in a penthouse, you don't expect to see a cat strolling across the wall of your roof garden.
Oh, really? Yeah. And especially when the roof garden is in such a state of disrepair, which I presume it still is.
It is, I'm afraid, at the moment. Yeah, I'm working on that one. Got the lawyers involved and all that,
Is that going anywhere?
Well, it will be resolved. Yeah. It will be resolved. Oh, yeah,
Before the end of the century.
I don't let problems linger or fester. No, I get on with it.
No, okay.
So this cat... Now, the thing is, cats can climb a lot, can't they?
They can.
So it could have come from anywhere, really.
Yeah. They could have climbed up the scaffolding if it was back there, but it's not.
There isn't any scaffolding yet, but I mean...
It could have come up a tree and jumped over.
Exactly, could have come up a tree and jumped onto the roof or something like that. They're, quite adventurous cats. Or
Is there food there? Has he found like a source of food?
No food. Or he's come out of one of the other...
He could have climbed up a ladder like the fox.
No.
You sure there's not a ladder?
There's definitely no ladder around. I did see a fox going up a ladder.
I know you did.
I mean, I don't know why you think this is some sort of merriment,
Because I don't believe you.
I'm a trained observer and you're not. Anyway, the point of my story is, and people might think this is a bit odd, I don't like having the cat around in my garden.
Right.
So to get rid of it, I tried to scare it. So what I did was I banged on the window a few times, no effect whatsoever.
So just sitting there?
Just sitting there. So then I got a pair of...
Mocking you?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, sort of. So then I got a pair of, big blue gloves and put them on.
Right.
Waved them around, thought it might just distract the... No.
Well, like plastic gloves or...
Yeah, plastic gloves, like cleaning gloves.
Yeah.
And I found them in my housekeeper's bucket.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. So I tried that, didn't work. But anyway, people will take the mickey out of this, but this effectively worked. I remembered from some Halloween party about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I had a pair of false teeth in.
Well, you had a Halloween party?
Well, I know I must have gone to one or something, or something. I can't quite remember now. But I had a pair of false teeth.
Although every night was Halloween around your place.
No, it's not. No, we take it very seriously. What are you going to do about the eclipse on Friday, by the way?
Well, it's interesting you say that because I'll probably be... I think it's happening between 8:30 and 10, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'll probably be in Sussex by then.
Right.
So I'll probably be asleep, actually.
Oh, well, you need to get up for it, don't you, really? Because it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
They say you shouldn't look at it, though.
Well, of course you can look at it.
Don't look into the light. In fact, when I put a story out earlier, people were all tweeting me saying, don't look into the light.
No, it'd be ridiculous. It's an eclipse. It's not a sunbeam which is going to burn your eyes out.
Scientific advice is not to look directly at it.
Well, I'm not going to look directly at it, but I'll look at the dark bit of it without looking at the light bit.
Yeah, but the light bit comes around the dark bit. It's not a total eclipse.
No,
it's a partial eclipse.
I'll be able to adjust my eyes to that. So I found these false teeth. And they're horrible, they look as though you've got bad teeth.
Boggles.
No, they look as though you've got bad teeth,
right.
All black and bent and all that.
Yeah.
And what I did was I hid behind my door.
Right.
When the cat came close enough, I went, with my false teeth in,
right.
And the cat, honestly, it was really effective. It went, the cat,
not
scuttled
surprised.
off. Yeah, it scuttled off. It scuttled off.
Have you still got the teeth with you? I'll take a picture of you and I'll send it out and see if it scares anybody else.
Well, I don't mind, because, you see, if I don't, people will say, no, you didn't really do that. Yeah. But I did.
I'm sure people would believe that you did.
And it was effective. Actually, I've got the teeth. I think they're in the car. I'll go and get them,
right.
OK?
Are they in the back of the car? Of course. No. In the boot of the car.
No, they'd be in my bag, actually. I don't know. I must have gathered them up with all the stuff I've brought to work and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I think they are. I'll go and get that and we'll sort that out. But so
the cat's gone. They probably won't come back now.
Well, I hope not. I hope the cat thinks I'm some kind of,
crazy person.
Yeah, cat myself or something like that. And
I think he's going to think you're a cat. But I think he might think you've slightly got a screw loose. He might think that.
No, not at all. I tell you what I want to talk to you about.
The time.
Yeah. Well, we've got plenty of time.
We haven't got plenty of time. We've got to Ask Porky in a minute.
We got all the time in the world. Don't you worry about that. I wanted to talk quickly to you about parking charges. Didn't you get a car park? You got a parking fine.
Eh?
You got a parking fine.
I did get a parking fine. Yeah, but I can't tell you about that now.
Why?
Because I can't.
We'll have to tell me about it in a minute then.
Well, I'll have to tell you about it in a minute. Yeah.
So I don't understand this clock business, because it's changing all the time.
Yeah, I know.
These people behind the glass, they try to confuse me all the time with ins and outs.
It marches on. Talk Sport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham. He's Mike Parry, and there's some very interesting tweets coming in. Actually,
yes.
Normally people kind of stunt up pictures of you.
Yes.
Somebody's actually stunted one up of me.
Well, I'm very glad about that.
From Dean, a normal Sunday night for Mike Graham. Is he a drunk or just trying to recover after 4 nights with the porkster?
Yeah. Well, I see it, and it's all down to this. Are you going to defend yourself against this allegation of drinking a bottle of whiskey on Sunday?
Well, no. I mean, I drank a bottle of whiskey on Sunday with somebody else, so I drank half a bottle of whiskey. In fact, I'm not even sure if I drank half of it. I could have only drunk a third of it. Yeah.
Half a bottle of whiskey. Do you know how much whiskey that is?
Well, it's half a bottle.
Yeah, do you know how much that is?
Well, it's about 75 centilitres a bottle, isn't it?
Hang on. If you went into a pub, right, that would be 8 large whiskies.
Yeah, well, that's not very much.
What?
That's not very much.
What?
I mean, funnily enough, I was talking to
8 large whiskies?
My daughter's boyfriend, because he used to work in a restaurant, and he used to run a restaurant in New York. He now runs a nightclub here.
Yes.
And
when are we going, by the way?
We were talking whenever you like.
Right. Okay. Good.
But I mean, the trouble is we'd have to we could go after one of the shows. Well, no, it'd be shut by then.
No.
We'll think of it.
We'll go on a weekend.
We'll go at one weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
And we were talking about the ridiculous small nature of the measures in this country. You would have found this after coming back from living in America.
Yes.
Where they just literally pour the stuff into a glass.
Yeah, exactly.
And they never measure it.
Continental
There's
style.
no question at all. Because I was asking him, because it's a nightclub and you charge probably 20 quid a drink.
Yeah.
I said, he said, well, by law we have to measure it. We said we don't actually measure it, but we have to kind of charge for a double. So every drink is a double. But in terms of, say, a New York bar, a double is nothing. I mean, you need to order about 4 doubles to get mostly what you would normally drink in a bar in New York.
I used to drink Tank and Tonic, which was Tanqueray gin, and filled it with tonic and ice, and they come in half-pint glasses.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we got through our years in New York, because you might stand in Costello's there and have 8 or 10 of those in a night.
Yeah.
So it meant you'd had a couple of bottles of gin.
More than that. I remember sometimes being there from, say, 2 in the afternoon till about midnight.
Yes, that's right. I remember that as well.
On a regular
very well.
basis.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And there was always a couple of drinks on the bar.
Yeah, but nevertheless, at your age, to admit in one day to drinking 8 large gin and tonics, minimum, because I reckon you drunk more of the whiskey than the person you were drinking it with.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's a damn disgrace.
No, I'm not really
a
whiskey drinker.
See a doctor.
No,
I think you've got a problem.
I'm not really a whiskey drinker. Well, that wasn't all I had to drink. We had two bottles of champagne, one vintage, which was very nice, another with Runart, which is about 50 quid bottle of champagne. I had a Bloody Mary to start with, and then we had some wine with lunch.
See how drink affects your life. It takes up most of your casual spending money.
It was a sociable event.
It takes up most of your time on a Sunday.
Didn't take up any of my money at all.
Damaging your liver.
Didn't take any of my money.
Well, who bought all the drink?
Well, the champagne, 2 bottles of champagne with Christmas gifts from people, right?
Oh, I see. You still got a load of champagne at home, have you?
Yeah, I got the vodka.
A lot of champagne for Christmas, the rate at which you drink it.
The vodka I had, I think I'd bought it for Christmas, so I'd had it lying around for a while.
Vodka?
The whiskey, I had a Bloody Mary.
Oh, I see. So whiskey, vodka, champagne, wine, no doubt, with
some
red
wine.
lunch,
Yeah. In fact, we had some white wines. I bought some Petit Chablis to have with the starters.
So hang on, let's just get this right: white wine, red wine, vodka, champagne, whiskey.
Yeah,
quite a marathon, that really.
Yeah,
quite a marathon.
Well, from 3 till about midnight. Yeah, why not?
Well,
Sunday, my day off.
I'm speechless.
Well, you normally are.
Speechless.
I imagine by midnight on Sunday you were pretty speechless.
No, I wasn't at all. No.
So what was your intake then? On Sunday when you had your Mother's Day lunch.
Mother's Day, we took a walk over the downs to the pub, had a couple of pints, right?
How many pints?
2, one of which was shandy. Pint of bitter shandy to start the day.
Rubbish.
Yes, very refreshing.
See, the difference between you and me is I'll tell people the truth about what I have to drink.
Very refreshing. Right, I always have bitter shandy and Sunday lunchtime.
I've never seen you drinking shandy.
I like shandy.
Really?
Yeah,
Why do you never ask me to buy you one then?
Well, in your company I wouldn't, but in a social company, my mother drinks shandy as well.
Right. So you made your mother walk across the downs to the pub?
No. She was taken in a car because she's of a certain age now,
right.
and
so you walked while she went in a car.
Yes, exactly.
Really?
Yeah, and at the end I felt a bit thirsty, but shandy, and then BR, a bitter. That's right, a London Pride.
Right,
and then
so then left the pub.
Back to the house, a couple of glasses of wine before dinner, a bit of red over dinner because it was lamb.
Yeah.
We traditionally have lamb on Mother's Day. And then that was it, really. That was it.
So you had 4 glasses of wine and 2 pints of beer. You expect me to believe that?
No, I didn't say that. I had a couple of whites before lunch.
What, bottles?
No. Then some red over lunch, then a couple of whites after lunch. And I'd admit, I did go back to the pub on the way home.
Well, in what quantity?
Because my driver picked me up a bit early. I didn't get home too early. What do you laughing at?
Unbelievable. Well,
anyway,
because I'm quite happy to admit when I've had something to drink.
I would never admit publicly to taking in the vast amounts of alcohol you take in because, for instance, if I had a life insurance policy...
It was a special occasion.
If I had a life insurance policy...
Have you got a life insurance policy?
I've got 2. But
is that why you don't want to admit to how much you drink?
No, they're worthless because of my heart condition. I don't know why I keep paying them. I keep paying £44 a month.
Why?
This life insurance. I keep meaning to cancel it.
Because has your condition rendered them not sort of cash-inable?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well, why are you giving them money then?
I don't know. I keep thinking about it. I know.
You shouldn't do that.
I keep thinking about it.
By the way, he did bring his teeth back up from the car, so I'll send out a picture of that very shortly.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you about the parking scenario, right?
Yeah.
Because I got a parking ticket 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Where were you?
I was in London. There's a place where I sometimes park my car if I have to go into town to do bits and pieces, because I can't be bothered waiting for a bus to get the train, right?
Yes.
And you can park it there, and it says 4 hours parking, no problem at all. And I was slightly late.
What, for free?
Yeah, for free, yeah.
Oh, where's this?
Surrey Quays.
Right, okay.
And so I get on the tube there, go into town, do a few things, have a bit of lunch, come back out, and it's slightly over the limit, 4 hours and 15 minutes, right? But I didn't see a ticket on the car, so I thought, well, that's good, I've got away with it. Got back in the car, drove away. Anyway, a couple of days ago, I get a ticket in the post, pictures of the car. You are now fined £85.
That's disgraceful. And you weren't even notified at the time, at the point of
there was
ticketing.
a sign. Well, I knew that there was a 4 hour limit, but I'm thinking 4 hours, 15 minutes.
Disgrace.
And instead of being 50% reduced if you pay it within 2 weeks, it's actually less than that. It's £50. So I've had to pay 50 quid to these people. Now, normally, I would actually have given them a hard time and just, spent a lot of time on the phone and appealed it and done all that. But it wasted so much time I just didn't bother.
Right.
I just paid them 50 quid.
Right.
But it's unbelievably ridiculous because it's one of these private companies, right?
Well,
it's not a council car park.
You think that's ridiculous. Listen to this. I had to read this 3 times. Rail companies accused of daylight robbery after it emerged that some passengers are being charged £200 a day.
What?
£200 a day.
What, to park at a railway station?
Park at a railway station.
That's ridiculous.
Train operators made £800 million from non-railway charges, such as parking and catering. Some station car parks charge, I can't believe this, and I've never seen this, and I think this must be wrong, £215 for a 12-hour stay.
That can't be right.
The most expensive annual parking ticket, well, I'm about to tell you, stands at more than £3,000.
Yeah.
Well, that's only 60 quid a week.
Right.
So I can't understand how it's $215 a day, unless you buy this in advance or something. The figures have been verified by the Transport Salary Staffs Association.
But nobody could afford to pay £200 a day to park, could they?
Listen, you won't believe it.
Where have you got this from?
The figures that I've been looking at, and the worst offender, believe it or not, is Liverpool Lime Street.
Really?
You'd think it'd be London or somewhere like that, but it's Liverpool Lime Street, where £215.
But is that because they charge an exorbitant amount per hour? And then it suddenly gets multiplied by 12.
Yes, that's right. That's absolutely right.
And you can't get a cheaper version for the day or something like that.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
That's even
more expensive than a parking meter in London.
Parking meters in London now are they're up to £8 an hour or something in the West End?
I think they might even be 12.
£12 an hour in the West End, yeah. So I suppose if you park there for 12 hours, it's £144.
Yeah, well, it's nothing like that.
This is £215.
That's ridiculous.
And this is because apparently stations increasingly, a bit like airports, have short stay and long stay.
Yeah.
So I suppose the long stay one is the £3,000 a year one. The short stay one is just £215.
That's ridiculous. Well, you don't want to park your car at railway stations.
No, you don't.
Answer. Because what happens as well, probably, is when you're trying to come back on a train which is then cancelled or delayed,
yes,
and you end up paying £400.
Yes, exactly.
That's the sort of thing that would happen.
Yes, that's right. Manchester Piccadilly, $2.15. Birmingham New Street, $2.15. Oh, it is unbelievable.
I can't imagine how anyone can afford to pay that kind of money.
No, I
can't. You couldn't do it on a regular basis. They must be just stinging people occasionally, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me read you a couple of tweets I've got
here.
Yeah,
please
James
do.
says, Porky is such a boaster, claiming he's friends with Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yes.
He's obsessed with being popular and liked.
No, I'm not. No, I just like to tell the truth.
If they wanted to see if Porky was a witch, they'd throw him in the water and he'd float because of his huge gut.
Oh, very funny indeed. But not true. Listen, talking about cars, by the way, and this is something that's going to affect you very badly.
Something else is going to affect you.
Yeah, families.
You're full of compassion tonight.
I am full of compassion, but I found this out for you. Ferry companies are warning that holidaymakers will be held in queues on the A20 at the end of the M20, the road you have to take to go home.
That's not the road I take.
Okay, yeah.
That's not the road I take. That's the road to Dover.
Blocking the route between Dover and Folkestone as staff struggle to process cars quickly at the transport control when new rules come in regarding Home Office passport checks, which start in 3 weeks' time. They reckon the queues could be up to 5 miles long.
Well, this is the stretch of road where they sometimes do what they call Operation Stack.
This is where the lorries...
where the lorries are all lined up on the A20, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I mean, that's not the road I travel on, so thank you for looking out for me. I've got something to mention to you, though.
Yes.
45-year reunion for members of a group of classmates who went to Trent Polytechnic.
Oh, yeah, what's that all about?
I got this tweet from somebody called Clive. Who says, I wonder if Porky has considered going to a Trent Poly reunion to meet his old mates.
Oh, I don't think
so. This is a group of classmates that returned to campus recently, and here's their names to see if you know any of them. Brian Huckabee.
Never heard of it.
No. Gerald Gora.
No.
John Bowen.
No.
Graham Blondell.
No.
Ian Hughes.
No.
Phil White. Alistair and Penny Wall, and they all met in 1970 when they started the Urban Estate Surveying course at Trent Polytechnic.
That's the one I did.
That's what I'm asking
Urban
you.
Estate Surveying. What year was that?
1970.
Ah, well, you see, I was... a bit
later.
I'm not that old. I was much later.
Says they enjoyed a tour of campus, fascinated by the changes to Newton and Arkwright and the facilities today's students enjoy in the new Students' Union building.
Oh, right, OK.
Later, they caught up with each other's news over dinner.
Did they?
Sounds really riveting, doesn't it?
I'd never go to reunions like that.
Why wouldn't you go to one?
I wouldn't go because you get a load of, people who just are there to boast about how well they've done in life.
But it says, look, if you need help getting in touch with your old friends for a reunion or would like to arrange a tour of any of our 3 campuses, then please let us know. There's Nottingham Trent University Alumni Association.
Yes, right. Well, I'm a member of that, probably. And,
probably.
Yeah.
I don't think you could just be a member of it. I think you have to join it.
No, I'm probably an honorary member by now.
Yeah, there's a picture here.
You probably know who I am.
That looks like that picture of you when you were in your football kit.
Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it? Except that they're all wearing jackets. No, I'm not in that picture. How could I be in that picture?
Well, you might be.
There's
a guy there with a beard who looks like you.
I haven't been...
They're all wearing flares.
I didn't have a beard in those days. I didn't go to a reunion, right? And B...
Well, no, that's from the old days. It's not a reunion picture, that one.
Let me see.
Are you sure you're not in that? I think it looks like your kind of time period.
Nah, I don't think that's me at all.
They're all wearing those horrible denim jackets and flares.
No, that's not me. I'm sure it's not. But anyway... Do you
not know anyone you went to college with then?
No, I don't keep in touch with anybody. But then again, what are you laughing at?
You don't.
No, I haven't seen an ex-school friend for at least 35 years.
Right.
And I haven't seen an alumni, as you call it, from my my days at the Trent University of the Trent.
Trent Poly. Just say it.
University of the Trent.
Say it.
I haven't seen anybody from
there
there
with me.
For at least 25 years.
Right.
I can't see any point in keeping in touch with these people. I like to remember people as they were, not as they are. You see what I mean?
Well, don't you want to meet the people who used to beat at darts and snooker and whatever it was?
No, I have no interest. I have no interest in that because that's part of my...
They might not even remember
former life. They probably don't.
You didn't go to any lectures anyway.
I didn't go to many lectures. I went to a lecture once and I stayed for about a quarter of an hour, seriously. It's so boring. And it went on for 3 hours, this lecture.
Did you get a grant from the government?
Yeah, I did. Got a full grant.
So you got a full grant? So you wasted all this taxpayers' money?
I did. I admit that.
Absolutely shocking.
In fact, I spent it all in the first term. And I had no money for the next 2 terms. I got a job as a barman in the 19th and 21st Lancers in Lenton.
Was this the place where you had the place shut down or something?
Yeah, I had the place shut down because it erupted into a riot when I was in charge after the landlord went on holiday and left me in charge, and the place erupted in a punch-up.
Oh, dear.
But, no, the point was, I remember going to this lecture once. It was economics lecture. I didn't understand economics at all.
No, you still don't?
No, I still don't, no. Stayed for 15 minutes, and then I thought, I can't handle this. And there was a break.
How did you sneak out?
Well, you literally got on your hands and knees and crawled under all the benches because it was a theatre-style lecture theatre, you see what I mean? It was easy. And the pubs in Nottingham, very unusual in those days, opened at 10:30. Right. This lecture started at 10, but it was due to go on until 1 o'clock.
So you crawled out of a lecture to get to the pub?
I did.
That pretty much sums up your higher education,
I did.
doesn't it?
And 2 mates came with me. We got until about 10:30. And absolutely lassoed by sort of 11:45.
A couple of pints of shandy.
No, brown and bitter we used to drink in Nottingham. Okay. That was half a pint of bitter and then a bottle of brown poured into it.
I know what brown and bitter
used to taste like drinking nutmeg, actually. It's very nourishing.
You're talking to a complete moron here. No. So far you've explained how yo-yos work. And what a brown and bitter is.
Brown and bitter, that's right, yeah. And the problem was that we got so lassoed that we didn't realise until
the time, by the way.
Yeah, until about 3 o'clock that everything we owned in terms of academica, books, pens, our bag, were all still in the theatre. But another lecture had started by then, so I had to crawl back in. and
by which time, probably slightly inebriated.
Yeah, completely inebriated, But that was a student life. That's what we used to do.
Absolutely.
That was what students did.
That was what students did.
And then we went off to the nurses' home to try and find some nurses.
Right.
Yeah.
Nursing home? I think you were in the wrong place.
Yeah. No, we weren't. There was a nursing home with lots of young nurses there, so we thought we'd go and show them how bright we were as students.
Yeah, I'm sure that worked well.
On DAB, Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
A terrific performance.
Turn of pace and eye for goal.
Shout about it.
Talk Sport.
Picture of you with your cat scaring face.
Okay.
So I shall retweet it on the old...
Well, I don't really mind that, but it was a request from you, so I don't want all the listeners now, sort of sending in mocking denunciations of me.
Well, Liz...
You asked me to demonstrate my method of scaring the cat away. I did scare the cat away.
I'm not surprised.
It was a perfectly legitimate exercise in trying to protect my property from the ravages of an evil cat.
Yeah.
And I feel
I don't think the cat will be back. Have you seen this?
I don't think it'll be back, and I fear I have no shame in the methods in which I use. People are sometimes intimidated by thinking they look foolish in things they do in life.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I know that.
My life is about practicality. Here's a problem. How do I solve the problem? If I think the problem is solved by doing things along the lines of A, B and C, they have to be done.
Well, here's one from Barry, who's seen the picture, and he says even Suarez would be scared. Actually, it looks a bit like Suarez.
Let me see.
There's the picture. It doesn't look a bit like Luis Suarez.
It does a bit, actually,
Here's one from Woodenhead. He says it looks like an extra from the Beverly Hillbillies. And Liz, you're a big fan.
Oh, yes.
Who wants to be the next Mrs. Parry, says brilliant picture.
Yes. Yeah, well, you see, there you go. She's got an appreciation of it.
And then Jay, who's obviously been slightly sarcastic, says, is he going to put those teeth in you were on about?
Oh, right, yes, OK. That's very good, though. I like that, yeah. Now, one of the reasons why I suppose I haven't heard a rugby chat is, of course, we've got old Russell in tonight, haven't we?
Yeah, we're going to talk to Russell about his predictions.
He's chairman of the fan club of Stuart Lancaster fan club. Yeah. Can't see any wrong in it, despite the fact that we keep losing games and all that kind of stuff.
Well, they did actually win, didn't they?
Well, yeah, but they've lost a game in the course of this championship.
Well, I bet you what he's
going
to
say... the big question is, can you justifiably call yourself champions if you've been beaten?
Well, I suppose that is one question you could have for him. But, I mean, he'll say that England is still in the hunt for winning it. But it's just a matter of beating France, really.
Yeah.
Which I suppose may be easier said than done. I'll tell you a funny thing happened to me today.
A funny thing happened to you?
Funny thing happened
to you all the time,
yeah,
mate.
well, that's true. But do you know when you lose something, you remember you telling me you lost your keys once and you couldn't find them for ages? You lost your car keys. I was looking for something today which I couldn't find for the life of me, and it was a thing called a card reader, which you probably won't have.
Card reader? What's
online,
that?
It's something you use for online banking.
Right.
So that when you do something, you do it securely, because when you want to send money somewhere, it asks you to put one of your credit cards or one of your debit cards into this little thing, and it gives you a special number. Anyway, I couldn't find it for the life of me. And it was really irritable, and it was right until I almost came into work, and then finally I looked in one final place and I found it, and I was so ridiculously happy that I found this thing.
Yeah, you do that like that.
It was ludicrous.
I totally agree with you.
My day had been ruined before that.
My life is constantly one of trying to find my mobile phone, my glasses, my car key. It is honestly a constant battle.
Did you not
every day.
mislay your phone the other day?
I did. I mislay it all the time. And the thing is, if you put it onto silent because you're on another telephone line, you don't want it to ring or something like that, it's no good ringing your own phone. In the old days, when you lost your phone, the first thing you did was you got your mate to ring it or something like that. Yeah. It doesn't work anymore because most
mine's off
phones...
a lot of the time because I'm asleep. I turn it off.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. And that's the way I'm afraid it works. But... life is becoming one constant battle against technology.
It is.
The other thing, which I think is...
Well, this was the thing. If I hadn't been able to find this card reader, I couldn't do the one thing that I wanted to do, which would have meant I'd had to ring the bank.
And what was the one thing you wanted to do?
I wanted to change a standing order. And in order to change a standing order, you needed this card reader, right? So I would have had to ring the bank, get them to send me a new one, try and do it over the phone, which they probably would have said you'd have to come into a bank. So I was thinking, oh, God, tomorrow I'll have to go to a bank.
Yes.
Which I really don't want to do.
The thing I lost most recently was a checkbook. Now, you probably haven't got a checkbook, have you?
I've still got one, but I don't use it.
Right, that's what I mean. Well, I do, because, there are certain things that I don't trust to electronic transferability.
Well, you don't use banking online, do you?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But only to look at it. I won't transfer money online in case it goes astray and all that. And, in fact, actually, funny enough, the other day, I rang up the bank. I use telephone banking. Yeah. And I asked for a rather large sum of money to be transferred from one account to another.
To me?
No, not to you. No. And what the person at the end of the line did, they transferred it from in the wrong direction.
Well, they can make a mistake doing it that way.
Yeah, I know. But I went into a big deficit of about 40 grand on an account, which... No, seriously.
Have you found that's missing 12 grand yet, by the way? Have you found the bank account that it's in?
The search is underway.
Oh, right, OK.
Yeah, I wish you wouldn't bring that up because that is, rather embarrassing. And also, people will think that, A, I'm...
Man of the people.
But, people will think, A, that I'm incompetent because I lost it, and B, that
You've got large amounts of money swirling around.
No, that I don't appreciate my assets in life. But, I've been around a long time, and it's just one of those things. Well, not that long time. I mean, not all that long. You see what I mean? Now, I want to talk to you about, what are you going to talk to me about? You're going to talk about, now, the national bird, OK?
Mother-in-laws, no?
Well, you said that you've never met a mother-in-law that you would even consider having.
Well, I've only ever had one mother-in-law.
Well,
and I didn't fancy her, if that's your question.
Because
she was quite considerably older than me and not my sort of type. But also, that's a pretty horrendous thing, isn't it?
Well, apparently it's a new phenomenon. Now, how do I know this? Because I keep in touch with all these things, and I'm reading that it's one of the things which modern man find. It's no joke. Half of men find their mother-in-law attractive. More than half of married men find their mother-in-law attractive. And a quarter of a genuine crush.
Do you think it might be something to do with the fact that women now, as a general rule, I suppose, consider themselves to be younger looking than they used to be? I mean, because, for example, your mother and my mother, probably when they were, at the age of, say, 50, would not have regarded themselves as kind of, a sex object, whereas now women do.
Well, I suppose they do. It says here, the poll of 1,500 husbands...
Why do you look so mystified?
Well, I just can't imagine my mother ever being, seeing anybody as a sex object or anything like that.
She must have been at some point.
Well, I suppose, obviously, but I mean, Mum's like, a very old woman now.
But what I'm saying now is you're bombarded with pictures. You're bombarded by pictures of women like Madonna, women like...
well, hang on.
Elle Macpherson, who's now 60, I think, isn't she, or 50 or something?
Yeah, one of the women in the new James Bond film is 50.
Right.
And she is the top pin-up in the film. Right. She's 50.
Is that Monica Bellucci?
I don't know. Sounds a bit the same. Joan Collins could be taken for 60.
Yeah.
She's 83 or something.
83,
yeah, something like that, yeah. But it says here, the poll of 1,500 husbands even found that 1 in 6 felt their mother-in-law was more attractive than their wife.
Really?
How on earth could that work out?
That's very weird.
8 in 10 said they had a good relationship with her, and 3 in 10 claimed there was a secret attraction. My mum has a real problem with, one of my brothers-in-law.
Really?
It's just one of those things.
Doesn't like him?
Well, I just don't understand each other, that sort of thing. I know I shouldn't be talking about this, family problems, all that kind of stuff.
You don't want to air that, do you?
No, I don't know.
Ian says my mother-in-law looks like Mickey Rooney.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the first girlfriends I had, right, and I went out with her for quite a long time. Yeah. Her name was Trudy, and her mother's name was Trudy, and that's because her mother was German. Because this girl's dad was a regimental sergeant major in the military police, the Red Caps.
Oh yeah,
quite a fearsome officer. You know, everybody's frightened of him. And
was he not there very often then?
Where
at the house?
Well, he was in England because they'd been transferred back from Germany. This is the point of my story. So So the mother was German. She was a German Fraulein.
Right.
You know, a beauty, a German Fraulein beauty and all that kind of stuff. So was her daughter.
Not a Hausfrau, then?
No, not a Hausfrau, no. But her daughter, of course, was English because she was born to an English father and brought up in England in an army camp just outside Chester, which is now a housing estate because of defence cuts, because we haven't got any defence anymore because Mr Cameron keeps scrapping all our aircraft carriers and dismantling the army
don't worry,
and the Air Force. And I think it's a damn disgrace, you know. I don't know what's going to happen the day the Russian tanks start rolling across the European plains.
They're doing a big military operation in the Arctic.
Who are?
The Russians.
Doesn't surprise me.
Well, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
You've got to keep abreast of these
I'm
things.
keeping
if your
abreast of
naval
things.
intelligence friends not told you about
I mean, the latest...
They've got 40,000 troops in the Arctic.
The latest naval intelligence also reveals to me that about 1/3 of fishing boats now coming out of the Eastern Bloc into the North Sea are spy ships,
Are they?
like used to be in the Cold War days.
Right.
You know, full of electronic wizardry and gadgetry, stealing all our secrets and all that kind of stuff.
They've now gone one step beyond that, and they've decided to just put a load of troops and carriers and all sorts of things into the Arctic.
It's amazing.
For what Mr Putin calls an exercise.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I don't mind if anybody invades and takes the Arctic or Antarctica. There's nothing there anyway. It's only polar bears.
Well, there's several scientific installations.
Yeah, okay. So a few scientific installations. The biggest deal about Arctic and Antarctic is there's loads of oil there, and if the good day ever comes when we need that oil, there's a massive world surplus of oil at the moment, then we need to get in there and start drilling.
Well, maybe that's the reason why Mr Putin has gone in there. But anyway, we've got the Porky, Ask Porky coming up very, very shortly, and I'm going to tell you about a funny story about IKEA that I came across as well.
Really?
This is TalkSport. We are the two mics.
I'll laugh in advance.
Podcast coming up. Well, I'm just trying to tell you so that you can be prepared for it. I imagine you've never been to IKEA, have you?
I have, yeah. IKEA, yeah, I think so, yeah.
You think so? Yeah. This is TalkSport. This is TalkSport Extra Time. We are the two mics, and it is that time of the week when we get you to ask a lot of questions to Mr. Parry. We call it Ask Porky. We've got a great range of questions, actually. There's always too many, so I've tried to pick out the best ones.
OK, that's fine.
And they range over a whole different spread of subjects.
By the way, I do love that intro song, Help. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to advise... in any sort of way which is going to offend or anything like that. I'm here to help. OK. Well, the first question is from James, who tweeted this a little bit earlier at the two mics. Which condiment is best with corned beef? Corned beef is full of salt anyway. Yeah. And that's because it was originally designed for the Royal Navy to have plenty of salt in it, so it didn't rot while the Royal Navy was going around the world. For instance, it could take 6 weeks or 2 months to get to Australia. Right. So you needed lots of corned beef. And salt beef, but salt beef, of course, became pastrami, right? So you had pastrami and you had corned beef, yeah. So if you're going to have a corned beef butty, which I like enormously, on fresh bread, with tomato, OK, sliced tomato and corned beef, absolutely wonderful. Then what you need... With butter? Yes, butter on the bread. How about mustard? No, not mustard. You can have a bit of mayonnaise if you want, or a bit of butter. But what you really need is ground black pepper. OK. And that's the condiment you need on corned beef and tomato. It goes beautifully with both. Don't put any more salt on. You've got enough salt in your system already. All right. OK, question number 2 from Stuart. Yes. Who says, I'm obsessed with starting campaigns, but for some reason they all fail miserably and I'm left sad. What should I do? Get better at starting campaigns, because clearly you have a failure element, a failure gene in your body. You're a loser, pal, and being a loser is not a good thing to be in life, OK? You need to be a winner. You need to learn how to be a winner. I don't know what sort of campaigns you start, but if, for instance, you were starting a campaign to, say, rid your neighbourhood of cats, or to stop people dropping litter in your street, you've got to get heavy with these people and let them know who is the boss. If I were you, I'd buy a book on self-improvement or listen to about 20 or 30 Two Mics podcasts, and you will learn what the element and the meaning of winning is all about.
OK. Stephen says,
yes.
I'm hoping to embark on a career as a Formula One commentator. Should I practice by commenting in my car while driving?
It's a very good thing, because you've got to realise that to actually pursue your dreams and achieve your dreams, you've got to dream the dream, OK? Do you know that there are a lot of... You're not going
to burst into song, are you?
I'm not going to burst into song now, but for instance, when I was a kid and I used to watch the Rolling Stones performing, the Beatles and all that, I thought, wouldn't that be great? Of course, I ended up making a Rolling Stones song, didn't I?
Yes.
I used to think when I was a kid that one of these days when I grew up, I'd be rich and famous and maybe I could get on an aeroplane and fly across the Atlantic first class, and of course I did. So you've got to dream your dream to be able to achieve what you want in life.
Yeah.
So don't be put off by people who say you're a dreamer. Only dreamers ever get anywhere in life, because if you haven't got any dreams, you've got nothing to achieve. The view I have on this always is you must reach out and try and touch the moon. You won't, it's too far away. But if you hit a few stars on the way, then you've got halfway there and you're doing well.
The Aurora Borealis was meant to be visible tonight, of course, but it's a bit too cloudy, isn't it?
Somebody sent a picture out on Twitter this morning of a view from a beach somewhere, and it was incredible. It was green and red and purple,
the Northern
sky.
Lights, yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, but I'm not sure where it was. It was somewhere like local.
It was up in Scotland, I think.
Was it in Scotland?
Yeah.
OK, probably.
All right, here's one from Adrian, who writes, I need a qualification for a job, but I can't be bothered to do the work.
Right.
Should I sleep with the married teacher to pass?
No, what I would do is, I mean, that's a good idea, and it is something that I've done in the past, but it requires a bit of research and then time and effort. You know, you probably have to take her out for dinner a couple of times and all that kind of stuff. You know, and charm her.
So you're recommending that?
No,
path?
I'm saying if you've got time, do that. But if you haven't, get onto the internet, find some dodgy university in America that sells certificates for qualifications to anything you want, really. You know, just tailor-made qualifications, and basically cheat. Because that's a quicker method of doing it than having to romance a young lady, and you never know whether the young lady has got the gall to carry the mission through. Like you.
What you mean if you convince her to help you?
Well,
she might grass you up.
She might grass you up. She might bottle out of it.
True.
Whereas if you pay somebody to get you a false certificate claiming you're something you're not, you are a cheat, but you know you're a cheat, and cheating often succeeds. Yeah. I'm not advocating that you should cheat, but I'm saying that it does often succeed.
Now, here's a real quandary. This is a very good one. This is from Marcus, right? He says, my girlfriend is moving to America come April. She wants me to join her, but I'm in my final year of university. In all honesty, I'm looking for a way out, and I want to go to America. It would be ideal. However, I'll let a lot of people down, like my mum, if I drop out so close to the end of the course. What should I do?
Don't drop out from your course, because...
so tell the girlfriend just to go.
Well, exactly. It sounds to me like he's been on the course for 2.5 years and he's got half a year to go, perhaps the end of this academic year, OK? And he should see it through and then go and catch up with your girlfriend in America. However, pal...
Well, yeah, but that's risky, that.
Hang on. I was just about to say this. Let me tell you, by the time your girlfriend gets over to America and her head has been turned by some guy who's a multi-millionaire dealer on Wall Street or something like that, you will have no chance when you get over there. You'll be regarded as a gnat, and you'll be regarded as an inconsequential little runt from England, and told to push off when you try to invade the space of your girlfriend's new life, a new and exciting life.
So you're basically saying choose university over a girl?
Yeah, I'm definitely saying that, and then go and find yourself...
Which is the exact opposite of what you did.
Not necessarily. And then go and find yourself a new girl. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Here's one from Adrian, who says, a different Adrian this time. I have some capital. Should I invest it in an oil mine, a cabbage factory, or an iron ore stock?
I tell you what I'd do at the moment. I'd be buying loads of oil shares, because although the oil price is at rock bottom and there's a world surplus of oil, it is a cunning plan by the Middle East oil producers to eventually force the oil price right back up by closing down the American shale fracking industry. Yeah. And that will happen in the long term. So if you can sit on your money, do that. The other thing that you may want to think about is perhaps going into risky investments like explorers who take donations from people and then go off trying to find gold mines in places like the Yukon, which still happens, believe it or not.
Well, gold prospecting.
Yeah, gold prospecting.
They still do a bit of that, don't they?
Yeah, of course they do, yeah. So you might want to think about that. The other thing to do, perhaps, is to go to Russia and get yourself into a swanky bar in in Moscow and spend it all on wine, women and song. It'll be great.
OK. Now, this one actually comes with a picture, which I can't show you at the moment, but it's a picture of a guy on holiday. It's a swimming pool and some sun loungers there.
Okay.
And basically this guy, Simon, says, Mike, should I return to the sun loungers or stay at the bar for another sangria?
Well, it depends where you are. And sangria is not good for you. It's full of sugar and all that kind of stuff, and it's not good. And in fact, I remember...
Well, it's full of fruit, isn't it?
Well, no, because the cheap sangrias that they produce there, mass-produce, are just full of sugar and stuff. And, I mean, did you ever go to one of those things, like Mallorca or somewhere, when you were a kid with your parents, and you go for it's called like a pork night, and you go and you sit in these long trestle tables.
Pork night?
Yeah, it's a pork night. They give you a big slab of pork,
really?
To eat. Yeah.
No.
And
I never went to any of those kind of places.
Yeah, and what happens is a waiter comes up behind you with like a white linen, what's it called, serviette, and they hold that under your chin, and then they pull your head back, and then they pour sangria down your throat.
Oh, is that one from the wineskin?
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's supposed to be
You're supposed to be a child at this point.
Yeah, I was, but I thought,
Well, so you drank sangria at that time?
Lots of people do in Spain. Yeah. No, I was about 13 or something like that. You know what I mean? So like.
That was actually the first time I had sangria as well. I got drunk at I was at a golf tournament and I won the section that I was playing.
The medal,
and I was only 14.
Yeah, well.
And they kept pouring sangria down my throat. I was a Fleet Street journalist. I was corrupted.
Yes, exactly.
Now we're running out of time here. I'm told.
Hit me with more problems.
A couple more here. Here's one that's more about me than it is about you. Right? I don't know how you're going to answer this one. It says this from Andrew. If you could swap old MG for anyone, who would it be?
Oh, it would have to be for a similarly untalented, remiss, drink-obsessed individual, and there's not many of them around.
It's not easy to find.
Not easy to find at all. And the thing is that what I would say about you is, Mike, that you do have your uses, so I'll stick with you, but as long as you know the rules of engagement, that is that, once we get out of this studio, you pursue your licentious life, whilst I pursue mine.
Your saintly followers.
In an ability of self-improvement and the pursuit of excellence, something you know nothing about.
OK, now one final one from Andrew. I was in a meeting with some colleagues and one worker was chewing gum.
Right.
What would you do in this scenario, Mike?
Well, it actually happened, actually. There was, when I was the programme director here, we had a meeting one morning after I'd finished the breakfast show
gum, though, don't you?
with Mr Brazil, not in these circumstances, and we were going through what was happening to the programme for the rest of the day. This guy not only was chewing gum, he blew a bubble.
Oh, so he's chewing bubble gum?
Well, I suppose so.
Anyway,
Did
he blow a bubble and it burst like they do?
Yeah, and I said, what do you think you're doing? I said, get out and get rid of that gum. So anyway, he went out of the room, but then he attempted to come back in the room.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, what do you think you're doing? So I've got rid of my gum. I said, when I said get out, I meant get out of the building. Get out of here. and sent him home.
You threw him out?
I did. Definitely.
Did he not launch some kind of lawsuit against you?
No, not at all. In those days, it was, you were allowed to manage, without
interference.
Without being told that you were, corrupting people or whatever you want to call it. That person now works for the BBC.
Oh, really?
Oh. So I don't know whether they put up with it or not.
They probably allow it.
Maybe.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
As long as you don't punch your producer, you're okay.
I see, by the way, on a very serious note, Jeremy Clarkson is irate at having been compared to Savile, because over the weekend an anonymous BBC senior exec said this is getting to be like Savile, people making excuses for a man who's clearly out of control.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And he's getting very upset and gone to see his lawyers. I don't blame him, because, I mean, to be compared to the worst ever paedophile that's been amassed in this country is a bit harsh, isn't it?
Dreadful.
Particularly when you are not one.
Ghastly. That was Ask Porky. We'll have more questions. I didn't get through all of them, but we'll save some of them for next week. And do keep sending them in, because he is the font of all knowledge in many ways. Coming up next, though, we're going to talk rugby, and we maybe talk a bit of Everton as well. This is Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
And it's in!
A diving header at the end of a 50-yard run.
From the root to the tip.
Talk.
The two mics. The Six Nations is coming very, very close to an end, of course, coming up this weekend. Russell Hargreaves is here because in an occasional bout with Mr Parry, you'd have to say that you and he have a difference of opinion about Stuart Lancaster. England currently top of the Six Nations Championship, but only on points scored, I suppose. Goal difference, if you like. They play France at the weekend. Ireland play Scotland, and Wales play Italy. So, Russell, Mr Parry, I suppose, would say you've been proved wrong, because England are top of the table, but I'm not quite sure how he's going to make that argument.
Yeah, but it's the weakest group.
Looking forward to this.
It's the weakest group ever, isn't it? It's the weakest championship we've had for 15 years, isn't it?
Why would you say that?
Well, I would say that because all the teams are very average. Scotland are bottom. Scotland are even below Italy. So how weak does that make the home teams? And what I've discovered now is, it's not actually Lancaster running the England team. It's Mike Catt.
No, it's not Mike Catt.
It is Mike Catt.
I was with Mike Catt today.
You were with Mike Catt today?
Yesterday.
Tell you what,
I can assure you that the first thing
for the game on Saturday
was point out how well Stuart Lancaster has been doing, coaching some of the good young players coming through. I actually said to Mike...
Well, he would say that, though, wouldn't
he? Yeah. No, hang on, Mike Catt...
He's not going to say that Stuart Lancaster, he's useless.
I said to Mike, well done in getting all the likes of George Ford and all of the other exciting young backs gelling and coming through. And he said, to be fair, I don't do a huge amount. Stuart Lancaster does most of it.
No, Mike Catt's doing it all at the moment. Mike Catt's he's a former World Cup winner. Well, no, he saw you and thought you were a bit naive because you've got this, hero worship of Stuart Lancaster. So he decided
That's the most random and presumptuous point I've possibly ever heard.
To give you a load of the old
You must have heard more random points than that during this time of the weekend,
presumptuous
surely.
and quite insulting, frankly.
What do you think? Well, I'm afraid you've got to take it. You've got to take it in the gob, mate. If you put yourself up there, put your head above the parapet.
Doesn't mean I can't say it's insulting.
What do you expect the table to look like at 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon?
Well, England won't have played then.
There's 3 games on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah,
England's the last one, is it?
2:30 and 5.
Well, there you go. What do you expect it to look like at 5 o'clock, and then what do you expect it to look like 2 hours later?
At 5 o'clock, I suspect that Wales will have won in Italy, and I think Ireland will have just about won in Scotland, but their record in Scotland is surprisingly poor. But I think the other 2 chief title protagonists will get the job done, meaning England will know what they need to do, which, as you know, is a complete flip to last year when it was a similar situation, actually, but they were first up away in Italy.
And will England do it?
They will.
You think they'll do it?
I think they will. Don't forget, France actually aren't technically out either after their win. So they could come in with a slight chance to themselves. Be a good game. I think England will get it done.
France have only conceded 2 tries. Fewer than any other team in the whole championship.
And England has scored double anyone else.
Yeah, OK, they've scored 11, I think, haven't they? That's fair enough. I believe that the French will hold out because I don't think Lancaster's got a plan. Mike Catt is clearly now in charge. If Mike Catt's got a plan, we've got some hope. Otherwise, finito, in my view. Okay. Finito.
So you're predicting who to win it then, Ireland?
Ireland.
Yeah, I think Ireland have been the best team so far, has to be said. But I guess we'll have to revisit this next week.
Time next week.
Yeah, and we'll look forward to it. Now, I honestly think England will just about pinch it, but it's going to be a good final day. We can't ask for much more than 4 teams who can still win it. Back to back games.
Main situation.
No, I'd rather there was one team that could win, and that'd be England. But because we're not dominant enough, because Lancaster simply hasn't got it.
Well, the main problem is that none of these teams are going to worry New Zealand or Australia or South Africa in the World Cup, are they?
Australia, I'm not too sure about, but certainly South Africa and New Zealand would come in as the 2 strongest ones for sure. But that's no different to the last 2 or 3 World Cups.
No, indeed. That's why we're not going anywhere. Now, here's something I was going to ask you about.
Oh, yes.
Because you're a man that's got many properties and more than one bathroom at the very least. I mean, I presume your wet room now is working perfectly, is it?
It certainly is.
Did you see that Ed Miliband story the other week about how he was picturing himself in this lovely kitchen, looking as though he had a very no-frills kind of place? Turns out, one, it was in his house, but it wasn't actually the real kitchen.
That's right.
So the whole thing is backfired on him.
Nanny's kitchen.
Yeah.
And you know he lives in a 5-floor house.
Yeah.
I mean, people think that I'm extravagant having a couple of penthouses, but all I've got are 2 homes which are half the size of a normal home. Yeah. Which would make 1 home.
Well, you've got 2 flats.
Yeah, that's right, instead of 1 house.
But that doesn't count all the ones you rent out, though, of course.
Well, no, of course not. But, I mean, I don't live in those. No. Well, I do, actually. I've taken the one back in Ipswich at Orwell Quay because I've decided that I want to get out there and get the boat out. And
what boat?
The boat I have at Orwell Quay.
You've got a boat?
I've got a boat at Orwell Quay.
You never told me you had a boat.
Well, I don't have to tell you everything that I've got, do I?
What sort of boat have you got?
It's a rib.
A rib?
Yeah.
What, you mean like one of those dinghies?
Well, it's not a dinghy. It's
like Captain Pugwash.
No. Rib stands for...
A rib, it's like one of those little dirigibles, isn't it? It's a dirigible.
I'm trying to think what it stands for. Rigid inboard boat or something, isn't it?
Something like
isn't
that.
Isn't it? Yeah. Rigid or something like that. I don't know. But
I'm sure it's not rigid inboard boat.
I think it is.
Really?
Yeah, inshore. Rigid inshore boat.
Inshore boat?
Yeah.
Has it got an outboard motor?
It's got an outboard motor,
So it wouldn't be an inboard then, would it?
Well, no, but inshore, isn't it?
Has it got a roof?
No, it's got...
It's like a dinghy then?
No, it's not a dinghy.
Has it got oars?
No, don't be ridiculous. It's got a motor.
Has it got a sail?
I don't actually own it. I have a share in it, so I can take it out
whenever I want. You've got a share in a dinghy?
No, not a dinghy. It's a rib.
You're not exactly Adnan Khashoggi, are you?
It's a rib, man. It's a rib. And people can sit on the seats like you sit on a motorbike, okay? 6. 6 seats.
What, you mean like motorbike seat in the middle?
Well, there's two. Like, so the guy at the front's got the steering wheel and all this kind of stuff, and he drives. Yeah. And then 2 people sit behind him, and then 3 people on the other side.
Okay.
Yeah, it's as simple as that.
So it's like a little motorboat, in other words.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
with an outboard motor.
Yes, that's right.
That's not really having a boat, is it?
Well, it's on water.
Well, I consider.
It's on water. It's got an engine. It goes forward. What else would you call it?
Well, I'd call it
an aeroplane.
I'd call it a dinghy.
It's not a dinghy.
It's the kind of thing that when I used to go sailing, right? It's the kind of thing I would get somebody to take me out in to get onto the proper boat.
No.
That's what it is.
No, what you can do is you can go seal spotting in it and go and look for seals.
Near Ipswich?
Yeah. What are you laughing at?
I think you'll be out there for a long time.
No, there are
seals.
A few round Felixstowe.
Yeah, there might be.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw one in the Thames once. Actually.
Well, there you go. You see, so you can see them anywhere. And so I thought I might, in my, I'm approaching sort of.
I've just been told what
age.
RIB stands for.
What is it?
Rigid inflatable boat.
Well, I said that, didn't I?
It's a dinghy.
Yeah, no, it's not. Don't worry.
It is.
It's not. It's not a dinghy at all. This is a proper boat, and there's, you can put cases of wine in it and all that kind of stuff. And,
I'm sure that's the main thing you need.
Round the
you can't get many cases of wine in it. If it hasn't
you can. Honestly, it's a proper boat.
It hasn't got a galley, right?
Well, of course, it hasn't got a galley. What do you want a galley for?
Well, so you can cook, so you can eat.
Don't be ridiculous.
So you can have a fridge.
You can go off to a number of restaurants.
Does it have a toilet on it?
Well, not really.
No, of course not.
Really.
It's a dinghy.
No, it's not. It's not a dinghy. Don't be silly.
So what happens if you get caught short when you're out on the high seas looking for seals?
Well, you're only there for 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah, and then you come back in and all that kind of stuff. You can go anywhere in it.
So why do you need to take a case of wine with you then?
Well, just in case you fancy a drink while you're looking for the seals, or something like that. But it's not like
your entire life revolves around having a drink.
No, it's not like Admiral George's. Oh, my whole life revolves around a drink.
Does.
What after the list of drinks that you had on Sunday? Just to remind the audience. Red wine, white wine, whiskey, vodka, champagne. Yeah. Anything else we've forgotten? Brandy?
No, I didn't have any of that.
Didn't have any brandy?
No.
You have a bottle at the house?
That was a one-off. I have some brandy in the house.
Yeah, there you go.
It's very nice. Hennessy XO.
It wasn't like Admiral George's boat that we went round New York Harbour.
That was one of the funniest stories
a million times because his rudder broke.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. He's Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham. We are the two Mikes. We haven't mentioned Everton yet. We're going to have that conversation as well coming up. This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the two Mikes. Tomorrow night, of course, it's Porky Vision, and then it's the big quiz of the week on Thursday night, which is on movies.
Movies,
as you requested
that's fine.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Just to cap off that story about George Gordon, who was one of the great sort of doyen foreign correspondents of all time. He talked about his boat for a long time in the bar. And by the time we went to go out on it, I thought it was going to be one of these massive, great kind of launches,
Yeah.
And it was literally like Captain Pugwash. It did have a little galley,
yes,
but it was a tiny little motorboat.
It was,
and I was very underwhelmed by it, I have to say.
Well, I was more underwhelmed when we got out to New York Harbour, and I thought, hang on, this is one of the world's busiest shipping lanes, if you see what I mean. Not for oil tankers and all that, but for cruise liners and all that kind of stuff,
Somebody's tweeted this at me. Is that that looks far too posh for you? I bet your boat doesn't look anything like that.
No, that's it. Honestly, that's
like
it.
A special boat service boat.
Yeah, but that's it. But I tell you what, there is a very, very tragic twist to this. When you drive in these things, right? I don't know if you know about this, but you wear the key around your neck.
Oh, yeah.
So what I'm saying is...
What do you mean, the key for the engine?
The key for the engine that keeps the engine going is on a cord, and you must put that cord around your neck. Because they are slightly unstable, these things. And if no, Mike, this is not funny.
It is funny because I can't imagine you driving a boat that's unstable.
No, if you turn quickly or something like that, those boats can flip over.
Yeah,
and if they flip over, they throw you out.
Yeah, I know.
And the arrangement with the key and the cord is designed to pull the key out so that the engine stops immediately.
All right.
Now, do you remember the Sky Executive down in Cornwall last year? The very tragic story.
Yes, I do remember that.
Nobody was wearing the key around the neck, apparently, although the investigation hasn't happened yet.
Right.
But they think that must have been happened because the boat
kept going.
Kept going round in circles. And people, unfortunately, died and lost limbs because the propeller went crazy. So you've got to be very, very careful about that. But no, that is exactly the...
Well, people, generally, people with these kind of boats... I mean, when I used to do a lot of sailing in America, they used to regard these boats as the sort of lowest of the low. Stink pots, they used to call them.
No.
Because it was weekend warriors like you who would go out on the high seas without any kind of idea of what you were doing and without any kind of charts.
All you got to do is steer it.
No, that's not true. Not any kind of charts. I mean, I knew a guy who was involved with the Coast Guard out there, and he said, they literally stopped these guys, a lot of them very wealthy, in some quite big power boats,
Yes.
And he said all they would have was the Rand McNally Road Atlas of Long Island.
Yes, that's
they
right.
Wouldn't actually have a chart of the sea.
No, that's
at all.
true.
Have you got charts of the sea?
No.
No. So when you take the boat out to look for seals, I mean, how do you know where the shallow waters are? And all that?
I always have an experienced sailor on board.
Do you?
Because otherwise you might run aground. In fact, I have to admit, I don't often drive the boat.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really qualified to do so.
No. I mean, I wouldn't fancy getting in this boat with you, to be honest.
No,
if you ever were to invite me on it.
Whereas if I hired a boat around Portsmouth Harbour, there wouldn't be a problem because there's no sandbanks.
Yeah.
Well, there are actually because they have pilots
the whole
to
place
get
is flat everywhere, isn't
it? Some of them are, but not shallow enough for a rib to get beached anywhere. You know what I mean?
But what's the draft of the propeller?
What propeller?
No idea what I'm talking about, have you?
On what boat?
On your boat.
Well, it's about 2 feet below the boat, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
You think so?
Well, the thing is, you bend the engine in and out, if you see what I mean. So when you bent it out and the propeller's in the water, it's just behind the boat. It's about a foot underwater.
So the draft of the boat is what?
About a foot.
About a foot?
Well, 2 feet.
You think? You're not sure?
Yeah, 2 feet, something like that,
Right.
yeah. I mean, you don't hit anything then, do you?
Well, you do, if you're going over something
Getting
shallow.
back to Admiral George's boat, of course, when we went out into New York Harbour, his rudder broke. We went round the...
well, no, the engine cut out.
No, we went round the Statue of Liberty about 8 times.
Yeah, but the engine cut out. We couldn't do anything with it. It was just floating.
I thought the rudder went, and I thought we were just circling the Statue of Liberty.
No, the engine just gave
Did
up.
it? Oh,
yeah.
Well, anyway, it was on those sort of
now,
days,
listen,
isn't it? Right.
One of the questions that we didn't get to ask,
okay.
Just because we ran out of time, and somebody had asked it, and I understand that you've got some advice for people on this anyway. So, the Euros in 2016 are not that far away. Some people are starting to tweet. I mean, you may have seen this tonight.
Yes, I am.
Asking, what should we do about the Euros?
People are asking, where should we book and all this?
Yeah.
How do you handle France and all that? And I have to say, no problem at all. France is great.
Yeah.
France is full of beautiful boucheries. Are they called boucheries? No, patisseries.
Boulangeries?
No,
Boulangeries.
What do they sell in boulangeries?
They sell patisserie in boulangeries.
No, they sell patisseries in patisseries.
No, they don't.
They do. They sell pastries in patisseries.
Well, a boulangerie generally is a
no,
cake
boulangerie's
shop.
a butcher.
No, it's not.
It is.
That's a boucherie.
Boucherie. What's a boulangerie?
A boulangerie is a cake shop.
I'm not sure it is.
Yeah,
but anyway, they've got lots of those in France.
It's like a bakery.
Is it like a bakery? Yeah. Okay. They've got lots of those in France, and they're lovely. I mean, of all the...
What about the horse butchers?
Oh,
Cheval.
Cheval. No, I wouldn't fancy
Duval was the guy that was in Apocalypse Now.
that. In what?
Apocalypse Now. Robert Duval.
Oh, Duval, yeah. But hang on, wasn't there a Maurice Cheval?
There was Maurice Chevalier.
Oh, Chevalier.
It is.
What I was going to say is, it's a great time to be in France because of the strength of the pound, weakness of the euro, okay?
Yeah.
So get a great deal there.
Well, you think it will still be like that next year?
Of course it will.
Right.
Of course it will.
But, I mean, where do you stay? Because, I mean, we don't know yet where England will be playing, do we?
Well, I'd base yourself in Paris because that's the best place to be. It's
Isn't it
pretty
better
central.
to go somewhere a bit cheaper, though?
No, because, look, you can get good deals in Paris now because of the pound and euro. Now, if you go to Gare du Nord, right, which is the main station from here, it's where the Eurostar goes in. If you come out, walk just across the road, literally across the road, there's a Mercure Hotel. It's an old-fashioned Parisian hotel with spiral staircases and creaky old corridors.
Has it got balconies?
Yeah, it's got balconies.
I think I stayed there.
Yeah, it's got balconies.
Before it was a Mercure Hotel.
Yeah, that's right.
I went to a Who concert there once.
Oh, right, OK, yeah. It has got balconies. It's got a lovely, French-type, what do you call it?
Foyer.
Foyer, that's the word I was looking for. And a bar on the first floor.
A bar, yeah.
Bar on the first floor, bar on the second floor and all that.
And do you have do you know the secret of drinking in French bars as well?
What is it?
That you don't sit down.
What do you mean?
Because they charge you more money.
Well, that's a good idea because I think in this country they should rent out the tables, not just charge you for the drink.
But that's what
because
they
all these
do there.
bums come. I saw a couple of bums the other day in a pub I was in who came in with a load of paperwork, ordered two bottles of water, sat there for an hour and a quarter, conducted their business meeting with their laptops
why
and all
is that bothering you?
Well, I think it's people are not business savvy. Those sort of drinking establishments will go bust if people go in and use them as their office.
But if they weren't there, then the place would have been empty, wouldn't it?
No, not at all. There was plenty of other people in there, but they should. The bloke who runs it say, OK, well, it's £10 per person per table.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, unless you buy drink to that amount. That's what should go on.
Well, in France, they actually charge you a different amount of money if you're sitting down.
Good. I think that's
great. They don't
actually
technically rent the table.
Have you ever drunk that Ricard stuff?
Ricard, yeah.
Ricard?
Very nice. Like
Aniseed?
Yeah,
Anisette. I hate Aniseed.
Very nice, with a little bit of ice and water.
Oh, not for me, thanks. No, I prefer to stick to French wines. Now, in France, I drink red wine.
Do you?
Like French red wine, OK?
What's your favourite?
Beaune.
Beaune, yeah. Beune.
Yeah, Beaune. Fleury.
Yeah.
Châteauneuf-du-Pape. I like the Châteauneuf-du-Pape because it's got a great bouquet. Right. And I'm not that keen on French whites.
Right.
So
I prefer French whites, actually.
Sorry?
I think I prefer French whites.
Whenever I go to France, I ask them to find me some Australian white. And whenever I go to Australia, I ask them to find me some French red.
They must love you.
Seriously. You try getting French red in Spain. What a pain that is. They think that it's a national insult for you if you don't drink Rioja.
Well, you should drink Spanish
wine. Rioja's trash.
I'm a great believer in drinking the local drink when you go to a place.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I'm a great believer in drinking the drink I like, not the drink that the natives want me to drink.
So you ask for shandy all the time, do you?
No, I don't ask for shandy. Don't be ridiculous. But what I'm saying is, if I'm the consumer, I demand my consumer rights, just like Michael Douglas did in that film. What was it called?
Oh, Falling Down.
Falling Down, that's right. Yeah, you know. When
you're going to end up like him, are you?
Well, you go him with a shotgun and say, I demand my consumer rights. But, no, the idea, you see...
Are you supposed to be giving advice to people going to France?
I am giving advice to them. What I'm saying is French red wine is lovely.
Yeah.
The French white, don't think that's so good. Eat plenty of the...
What about tips in restaurants, though? Because obviously you'll have been in restaurants where they may not speak English.
Well, I've told you my favourite restaurant is Fouquet.
Yes, I know you've told us that.
Which is on the Champs-Élysées.
But they might not find that one.
Well, it's also pretty expensive. Well, look, if you go anywhere around the Tower d'Eiffel, you will find plenty of little restaurants which are like typical little French... What do they call them?
Cafes? Bistros?
Bistros, probably. In Italy, they call them trattorias, don't they? Call them trats, right? And
trats, I've never heard that.
Yeah, trats, little trat. Yeah. Little trat is a little sort of Italian restaurante, you know what I mean? And in Spain, of course, they call them the tapas bars.
Yeah.
So in France, they probably do call them the bistros, you're right. Bistros,
possible.
Cafes, something like that.
So you recommend hanging around by the Eiffel Tower, do you? That's not a very nice part of Paris, as it turns out.
No, but what I'm saying is there's a hotel there called the Hilton d'Eiffel Tour, you know?
It's called the Paris Hilton, actually.
Well, it is, yeah, it is, yeah. And,
which I thought was rather amusing. I took a notebook and gave it to my daughter, who at the time was quite interested in Paris Hilton.
Right, OK.
You know, the woman in America.
Paris Hilton, I see what you mean, yeah. You were having a joke. But there are loads of little cafe restaurants around there.
There are.
And I know that for a fact because a number of the TalkSport staff came over when I was covering the Rugby World Cup, because I was the TalkSport rugby correspondent in 2007, and we had a jolly good old time.
Did you?
Also, I'll tell you where else I think in Paris is great, around the old L'Arc de Triomphe. There's a load of good places around there.
Yeah.
In the roads,
it's very
just
touristy around there, though.
It's not that touristy, and I'll tell you what they have got.
The Champs-Élysées is not touristy.
Yeah, of course it is, but it's the far end, isn't it? The L'Arc de Triomphe.
That's where they're all going. So have their picture taken.
Yeah, I know. Do you know the L'Arc de Triomphe roads that goes around it?
Yeah.
There is no car insurance in France that covers you for that road.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned that
because
before.
It is so disjointed in the sense that nobody quite knows where they're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
There are plenty of crashes there, and you can't get the insurance for it. You just cannot get insurance.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, there are a load of very expensive blocks of apartments around there, and I love the idea of the French apartment block where they have big iron gates, and you go into the courtyard, right?
Why are you saying it like that?
Well, because it's France, you know, Francais. And then in the courtyard, you know, you go into... Do you remember the First Born film? He lived in one of those.
Oh, in the Born Supremacy?
Yeah, where they shot the woman through the head and this guy came flying in through the window and all that kind of stuff, you know?
I don't remember that well.
Yeah, that was one of those, typically. I was chasing Mick Jagger around France once and he lived in one of those.
Did he?
And then when he disappeared, we thought he's gone to his chateau in the Dordogne or somewhere like that.
Right.
And we drove down there 200 miles. And when we got there, we found the bloke there who was the, the guy who sat there and watched over the place.
Caretaker.
The janitor, caretaker, and his wife who looked after it.
Yeah.
He'd been there once in 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, it was a wrong mission. We shouldn't have gone.
So you went back again?
Went back again, yeah. He wasn't there. Yeah.
Astonishing. I don't know how we got from there to get advice, but anyway, keep listening. We'll keep giving you advice on what to do.
That's what the big French bread is. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And croissants. I love croissants. I eat croissants now with ham and cheese in them all the time.
Do you?
That's all I eat.
Right. That's all you eat?
Yeah.
I think you better get you back on the Red Bull. Mr. Parry will return, of course. It says here, James, this is a good one to finish the show with. James says, why does Porky get so worked up by people not drinking booze in a pub? Just because he's obsessed with alcohol?
I'm not obsessed with alcohol. I'm trying to protect the tradition of the English pub.
And James says this, I wonder what Mike Parry would score if the weekly quiz was on rugby. we maybe have a quiz on rugby at some point, which will utilise your great knowledge of the rugby union scene. This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes.
Look at the light!
Don't forget to follow the Two Mikes at the Two Mikes on Twitter and on YouTube. Just look for Two Mikes TV. They say if you can smell toast, you might be about to have a stroke.
Well, I smell toast all the time. I love the smell of toast, don't you?
What do you mean you smell it all the time?
When you smell toast, you put toast in the toaster.
I'm talking about when you're not making toast.
Oh, no. Well,
like when you're walking down the street and you smell toast.
You can't be mad. I thought you meant you smell toast when you put it in your toaster, you fool. What are you laughing at? What do you expect me to think? What do you think?
It's not about smelling toast when you're actually toasting bread.
When else would you smell toast? So I hid behind my door. Right. When the cat came close enough, I went, "Ah!"
If you love the Two Mikes podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.